Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of my live Ascension messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. Today I'm trying something a bit different. So I'm going through via Zoom onto live YouTube. I haven't done this before because I just wanted to share a picture or two, and it was just the easiest way to be able to do that, if I can remember how to share a screen at the right time. So today we're going to do something different. Like usually on Thursdays I do channeling, and I have channeled through this really big channeling yesterday, but I wanted to put it in a production movie, like an actual video, so that will be being published soon. But today I wanted to do some life stories. So hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of my Ascension messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize if I had that open, then it'll come back, echo back. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about this amazing story that I have of when Steve Irwin died and my premonitions leading up to it, and what happened after as well, after his death. So it's quite a full-on story. And I have actually, I was told by my guides to write everything down. So these are years of writings of my stories that I had, that were, I was going between this world and another world my whole life. So I wrote them all down. Well, not all of them. I actually had a couple, like a year, I think 2005, I'd hardly wrote anything down. 2003, I hardly wrote anything down. But in any case, this started back in, I think it was about February in 2006. And I will tell you the story of the dream that I had, and then the events leading up. And then I found some information of what I've written down about the events that happened after his death. So I actually painted his heaven that I saw back in February 2006. It was one of those very, very, very real dreams, like just stood out, like so vivid, so lucid. But I was an eagle and I was flying over his heaven, and I knew it was this Steve. That's all I knew. I didn't realize it was Steve Irwin, but I probably should have put two and two together, because as I flew over this heaven, there was all these animals. In the dream, the animals consisted of buffalo, gorillas, and there was one other, I think it was elephants. Well, no, I don't think it was an elephant. It was buffalo, gorilla, and there was one other, but I can't find the writing that I wrote down about that. I know I wrote it down, but I can't actually find it, because I wrote the whole thing down and sent it to Terry Irwin. Any case, I did paint the painting, but I mixed a whole heap of animals in it while I was painting it, because it just felt right. So I just went along with like painting the dream, but put my own perception of what was happening in the dream as well. But any case, I was flying over these three animals, and they were at the end of it was kind of like an extinction thing, like they were just about going to die off or something like that, and he was protecting them. And all I knew that his name was Steve, and there was this rickety old tree house, and I climbed up the tree house. I'll give you I'll share the link of the actual. This is the picture that I painted. So here I am, the eagle, and I'm flying over. And then I ended up walking up these rickety old stairs. And then I entered knowing that Steve Irwin, or Steve, was in there. I didn't know it was Steve Irwin at the time of the dream, just Steve. And there was this really big open window here, and he could look out at all these animals, but there was only 3 animals. I think I got the gorilla and the bison or the buffalo in there. Yeah, I wish I could remember that 3rd animal, but honestly, I can't. So, and when I walked in, he was like sad. He was like on his own. And yeah, and he was sad because he was on his own. I remember that much. Okay. So I dreamt that dream, and then I put it aside, because I have a lot of very vivid dreams and they're pretty cool. But then from then on, it was really weird. I couldn't get this name Steve out of my head. And it just kept on repeating over and over. And this is like for months. And I wasn't really into cooking at all. Like I didn't like cooking because I had brought up kids since I was 22. And I think this is in my 30s. And I was like, just over the cooking thing. But everything changed. It was like this energy went around me that I all of a sudden loved cooking, and I wanted to go out and buy all the recipes for my cooking. And every time I stepped foot into the kitchen, I had Steve going on in my head. And I got so obsessed by it that I started to look up people who are past that might be, named Steve that I knew in my past. So I had a boyfriend called Stephen when I was maybe for about 2 weeks, when I was only about 12 years old or something. So I tried to look him up and see if he had passed over or something. I was just trying anything to find out what was going on with this energy that had really shifted. And this happened for about, the next 6 months. And then I was at the doctor's and I'd heard over the radio that Steve Irwin had died. Oh, no, just before that had happened, actually, take it back, a few days before he had died, I woke up and I saw a little girl with a bow and arrow standing beside my bed. And she was very angelic. And she shot the arrow and it hit my chest, hit my heart. And then visually I saw a coffin next to my sliding door, and it was a dad. It was dad written on it. And I had no idea what that meant. I just went, wow, someone's going to die. Something's going to happen. Someone's going to die. I asked that night, give me some more clues, what's going on, and I went to sleep and I had one of those lucid dreams again. And I ended up walking into my lounge room like I was in my house, and my whole lounge room wall became a window. And through the window was this wavy grass, and there was this, a bear that hobbled over with only 3 legs, like one of the legs had been cut off. And it reminded me of when I first went to Australia and I had to leave my daughter for a little while, and I got a chunk of my arm cut out of me in a dream. It was like there's a missing limb, something's missing. And I knew that the bear was a female, and that's all I got. I got these like snippets of clues, and then I went to the doctor's a few days later. I was just outside, just ran, nothing major or anything. I think for my daughter or something. And I was sitting outside, and then I heard on the radio that Steve Irwin had passed over. And it just over the next couple of days, I'm like, ding, 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 all of these, oh my God, that dream that I had like 6 months ago, that his name was Steve, and it was all animals. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. And then I found out that he had died with a stingray, which is like an angel. They call them the angel of the seas, shooting something at his heart. Shooting his tail at his heart. He got speared by the tail. So it made sense. And the dad in the coffin, you know, he's a dad. And yeah, so then I found these write-ups as well. And so I will read some of these out to you. So it said that it was about a few days later, and then I ended up having a really profound experience chatting to Steve Irwin. And I said, because I was already talking to somebody else who passed over at that stage in my life, because I didn't know where I was going with my visions and all that, and being able to see into different frequencies. I was focusing in on people who had passed over. And I was already talking to another fella, Kenneth, that had passed over because his mum was wanting some validation about his passing. And so he was telling me his story. And then straight after his story, very loudly, I heard, right now, Steve Irwin, you know, it's your turn. Straight away, and this is what I've written down here. This is in September 2006 to 13th of September 2006. Straight away, a big moth or a khaki butterfly flew, it would have been a khaki butterfly, because butterflies mean transformation, and he always wore the khaki clothes, right? It flew close to my ear, and it was so close that I could feel the wings beating in my ear really loudly. I remember that really loudly. I asked him if he could back off as he was so close, and I felt him panicking and going backwards and forth. So I said, it's all right to let go. It's all right, Steve. Everything's going to be fine. Just let go. And then he flew off, like the butterfly flew off. And then I ended up waking up. I started to cry, and I was waking up, and the song was running through my head, and it was a song, I will go down with this ship, and I will put my hands up. Now I'm starting to cry. This is how emotional this is. Wow. And I will put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love and always will be. And then I felt like he was sitting at the end of the bed, but I did not see him sitting at the end of my bed. I just felt like he was. So I had this full-on conversation with him, and he literally didn't even know he had passed. He didn't realize it was 2 weeks after he had passed, I think. I'm not sure exactly the date that he passed, to tell you the truth, but it was after he had passed. And he was like still in the sea going, wow, it's so exciting. Wow, look at all this. Not realizing, because time doesn't exist over there. It's you can flip from one time to another when you leave your body. And so he was in this panic of, oh my God, what's happened? And I said to him to go back to his Australia Zoo and go sit, you know, just sit there for a while and feel into what's just happened, transpire, but to let go, and it's okay. And interesting enough, I actually saw an interview a while later of Bindi saying that she had a dream around the same time where she had walked out and he was sitting under a tree, and she went and talked to him. And then that calmed her down. I also wrote this was really huge to me. I felt like Steve was here. I hope I helped. And then it was, the next thing that I have was a vision on the 23rd of September in 2006. So yeah, I'll go back to not sharing, stop share. So this is a vision that I saw an older blonde girl standing beside my bed. I started yelling, "No, no," at her, and she went away. But when I woke up, I was annoyed that I did that. And I have, as I was, frightened by the vision, sometimes because things just pounced on me, I got scared. And it was interesting. I said no, no anyway. Then that was the 23rd of September, 2006. Then on the 27th of September 2006, I said, after watching Terry's interview on TV, this is for real, I found out the reason why I always thought of Steve's name in the kitchen was because he loved to cook. I had a feeling that was why. And then also on the 23rd, the vision of the 23rd of September 2006, when I said no, no to the little girl, was exactly what Vindy had said when she heard that her dad had died, which was obvious, understandable. And then another dream, I had a dream that Terry, Steve, and I and a few others had helped lost souls to find their homes, and that was our job. And then while I was awake, I had asked to see Steve dream, so I astral traveled. So I remember lying down on my bed, and I went into a sort of a meditative state, and I decided to astral travel, and I was taken to a big wooden platform. Steve was there with his guides. I don't know if you can see his teeny little picture there that I drew, showing him. So it was like this platform, a wooden platform, and then you could see out to the landscape. Steve was there with his guides showing him part of heaven, and I came back into my body quickly. I was snorting like an animal, and I found out that because I saw these pigs lined up in these pigs, and I was one of the pigs. And I found out later, shamanically, pigs mean invisible. So I think I had gone into a pig's body to see what was happening, because then I could be invisible and not disrupt what was going on with him, because it was time for me to stop being, I just wanted to check up and make sure. The words, "the door is locked," rang in my head. I now really feel the need to live life now and stop worrying about Steve. Notes. There was a note that I wrote down as well. Namaskar. Now, I'll tell you another story about Namaskar in a minute and how that came to be with me. Namaskar is the tribe of retrieval. It helps those souls that feel lost to find peace again. This is why so many people felt so sad, and when Steve died, not to mention he was famous, hello. Now I realize my journey. So I wrote this back in 2006. Now I realize my journey to form a special bond with my family and friends, to help those that feel they need help, to speak the truth with peace and love, and to listen. Yeah, so that's really cool. And now I'll bring up what Namaskar is all about. So Namaskar was given to me back in 2001. I was woken up in the middle of the night, and this poem just poured out of me. And so I'll read this poem out to you. And then they signed it, Namaskar. And I didn't know what the word meant, but the poem says, "Strip yourself from your fear, the negativities you can't bear. Frightened by your living karma, you bind yourself inside this armor. Guilt, hatred, and even anger cause you illness and a life of sadness. Only forgiveness inside your mind will give you the life you want to find. If you're ill and the reason is this, that you have hatred or guilt or a feeling of guilt, then you can cure yourself for sure if you forgive yourself to put yourself all through that and open the door. Connect yourself to the light, and then I got in brackets God with the peace inside that's very bright, and then I put in brackets your God. Then forgive and let go of the stress, and God will help you do the rest. Only then you'll find the truth in your mind to see what's real. The reason why we are here is to, I confronted, crossed it out and put connect everything we feel, so that we may join with honor and produce an earth unlike any other, a world of love with no need for power to be, only itself in heaven you will see. And then I signed it, my name with angels, and then Namaskar. I wrote the word Namaskar after. It's like I went to sleep, and then after I wrote this poem, and then I woke up and I grabbed another pen and I wrote Namaskar. And I didn't know whether this was a word, whether it made any sense. I just had this word in my head. Then I looked up the word about a year later, honestly. It just kept coming up. So I went, that's it, I'm going to Google this. And I Googled it, and it came up with a message saying that Namaskar was an old, was it Indian word for namaste? And it said, greetings, I recognize we are all one. Yeah. So, yeah. So that was pretty full on. And that's my story about Steve Irwin and the dream that I had and all of that stuff. Now I just see what time it is. 27. Wow, half an hour's gone by. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. That's my true life story for today. Look out for this next channel message, though. It's a very powerful one. I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to spend a bit of time on putting it all together. It actually took me back to a dream, the very first dream that I had when I stepped foot on Australia to live here. And it's giving us some more messages about these times. So yeah, look forward to that one. I might publish that on Saturday. Also, I have an interview after this, so I'll look forward to presenting that interview too. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until the next time, bye.